My mother and I were talking about relationships earlier, in particular abusive relationships, after we had watched a clip of a lady talking about how she left her physically abusive husband, and also another story of another lady who had left her seemingly amazing husband. To everybody in the public eye, the man was amazing. He was a wedding planner, apparently. He looked amazing on paper, but behind closed doors, he was abusing her. Anyway, and then we got to talking about why some women don't leave. And apart from the obvious of being afraid for their lives, the other reason why women don't leave is one, sometimes there is a lot of stress from family members to remain in that relationship, because some people view marriage as the goalpost. It's like the end all and be all of everything, of your life's purpose. If you don't get married, then you are a loser and you haven't accomplished anything in your life. There's that. And so they encourage their daughters to stay in abusive relationships. Sometimes they tell their daughters to stop doing what they're doing to make the man abuse them, which is such an awful thing to tell your daughter. And then the other reason why women are afraid to leave or don't want to leave is because sometimes they've spent years building a life with the abusive husband. Maybe they've gotten children together. Do you know what I mean? They've built a home together. And so they're afraid to leave because of that, also because of financial reasons. And sometimes some women just don't value their peace. It seems like they don't value their peace because they stay till death in these awful abusive relationships. That's that. And then also there's this stigma attached to failing, the idea that you have failed in a marriage because you didn't make it last. And what these people need to realize is that it's not the woman's fault that the relationship didn't pan out the way that they had dreamt of it panning out, since childhood. Because a lot of women from an early age view marriage as this fairy tale thing to experience and to stay in for the rest of your life. And when it doesn't pan out that way, they're afraid to leave. They are simply afraid to leave because of the backlash of what others might say about them. And then there's also the other types of people who maybe boasted about the relationship, especially those relationships on social media. They boasted that they were in such a wonderful relationship. Not my man, not my man, not my man. Those kind of women, they are afraid to leave because they boasted about that man being an amazing man, being an angelic husband. And so to go back to the public domain and to tell everybody that the man that you were with, that you were boasting about, not my man, abused you, they feel shame. They feel shame. But what I'd like to say to these women is your peace should come before anything else. Do not be afraid to leave a relationship that no longer serves you, especially a relationship whereby you are being physically abused. Do not be afraid to leave such relationships, because we've seen so many times on social media of women losing their lives because they didn't leave on time. And some of these women, they had that gut feeling that was telling them to leave, but they didn't leave. They refused to leave. And in the end, they lost their lives. And, I want to speak to you directly, women. If you're in an abusive relationship, make plans now. Start making plans now to leave. And if you can leave the country, that is even better. And if you're single, as in if you don't have any children and you're in that relationship, then leave, 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 leave. And if you've got children, make a plan. Start planning slowly to leave that abusive relationship, because you deserve better than that. Honestly, you deserve better than that. You are beautiful as a woman. No matter what you look on the outside, inside you are beauty. You are the essence of a woman, which is beauty in my opinion. So love yourself enough to leave. And if you've got children, love your children enough to leave that situation so that you can give them a better upbringing. because you don't want your children to be in a situation whereby they're seeing their father abuse their mother on a constant basis. And you don't want those children, whether it's a women, girls or boys, to think that that is the way that relationship goes. So please, ladies, do your best to find a way out of the situation that you're in. And don't forget to pray. Ask for guidance, ask for protection, and God will protect you through this situation that you find yourselves in.